the voice that is telling you that you are faulty, that you need to be fixed, that you are not worthy of being loved, being seen, being hugged, sometimes in the extremes even of physical touch, of being looked at. Maybe you know this feeling of you're in social situations and you have a hard time maintaining eye contact. Your primary focus is the ground before you because looking up may feel dangerous or unsafe, may cause anxiety within you. All of these are dimensions of a single emotion that I want to talk about today. And that emotion is shame. And when we talk about shame, I need you to know one thing that you have to stop doing that everybody else does. And that is treating shame like it's an emotion. I just did it myself. I just caught myself. I talked about shame as an emotion. But let's look at this. Let's really look at this, because shame is actually not quite an emotion. If you are angry, for example, you can locate that easily within your body. Sadness, you feel like, crying, you feel like there's a lump in your throat. With joy, obviously, you're bubbly and exploding into the world. But shame is not that. Because shame is like a pair of glasses that we put on through which we see ourselves. Shame is a perspective. Shame is a way of relating to us. Shame can feel like a dull blanket that we put on ourselves, and that is covering everything we're doing. When we're blended with toxic shame, if we have parts within us that are deeply ashamed, if we have a strong inner critic, it can very quickly happen that everything that we do, even the joy, even the quote-unquote good stuff, even the achievements that we have, are just never good enough. It's like the eternal self-sabotaging mechanism. It's the belief that no matter what you do, you will never be loved. And I want to tell you one thing that is really important. The voice is not yours. It's inherited. It's been given to you. It's been imprinted within you from the outside. And there's actually 3 places where this imprint happens. The first one is quite obvious. It's our family environment. When we are children and we express joy, for example, or any other emotion for that matter, if we express joy, anger, sadness, all of that, and there's a caretaker that is not able to see us and hold us in that emotion, what happens? We get told that the emotion is not good, that it should rather go away, that it's not allowed to be angry, that it's not allowed to scream, that it's not allowed to cry, that it's not allowed in some instances even to be joyous. And in that way, we get the imprint from the outside, the belief from the outside that we inherit from our caretakers, from our parents, and the whole family system. It's sometimes a belief that gets carried through generations, that certain patterns, maybe emotion, maybe thoughts, maybe things we're saying, things we're doing, are not allowed and are not good. And then the blanket of shame gets put on them, and it gets stored away into our basement, into the shadow, into the subconscious. The second thing is the norms we grew up in society. So when you grow up in a society, like I'm in Germany, you may hear it from my accent, I'm German. And in Germany, certain things are not allowed. Like there's this classical German thing of always being on time, always being strict, always being focused, always being really, really precise. And if you listen to me, there's not much room for creativity. And I myself, growing up as a very creative child, growing up as a child that tends to daydream, I had a really hard time. And all of these qualities, the freedom, the creativity, maybe not being on time all the time, the self-responsibility, my freedom to be and to do whatever I want, got restricted, not only from my family, but also from the norms that were coursing around in society. It's like a collective trance that everybody is in, almost like zombies or robots that all follow the same belief system. And when you look around as a child, you adapt to these beliefs. And when you adapt to these beliefs, everything that doesn't fall in the category of these belief systems gets shut away and becomes shamed. Again, the blanket is put on top by society and by the norms that we grew up in. The third factor is school. And with school, I'm talking about a very certain thing that if you live with toxic shame, you may have experienced that. I experienced it, and I just had a client session where there was this pattern present, and it's pretty terrible and tough, and that is mobbing, being excluded from the collective feel of the classroom, sitting maybe in the front row and feeling like everybody else is like this bonded, this tightly knitted system of social interactions that you just don't belong to. And everything that you do, that was true for the client, everything that she did was wrong. She was laughed at. She was projected on. She was insulted, even if she showed joy, up to the point where she learned that showing emotions in general is not safe. So again, the blanket has been put on top of her feelings, on top of everything she did, because obviously it's not safe to exhibit certain behaviors if they get punished from the outside world, and that may happen in our family system, in society, and in school. And what do we do then? Again, the blanket gets put on top and we store them away and deem that as not good. But still, they are part of us. All of these things that get shamed within us, that get shamed within you, they are a part of you, and they have been taken from you. And healing means reclaiming the things that have been taken from you in a moment where you felt so vulnerable that you couldn't react in a different way. You weren't strong enough. You just didn't know better. But here's the thing. These inner children, these past versions of ourselves that are still playing out in the present, I believe we can go back into our childhood rooms. We can go back into the classrooms, and we can reclaim the power that has been taken from us. And that is ultimately, when it comes to shame, a way of regaining the full spectrum of our emotional world. It's regaining the permission to be whoever you want to be, and to deeply learn that whoever you are, whatever impulses you have, whatever thoughts you have, it doesn't matter, because you are fundamentally okay the way you are. And still, there's this nagging voice within us. You can listen to me and you can, maybe on a surface level believe me, and you're like, yeah, sounds good, but how can I actually change that? And there's this 3-step process that has to do with your body, with feeling, because like I said, the feeling in moments of shame has been stripped away from us. We are numbing ourselves in order to attune to an environment that is essentially faulty to us. And we can reclaim that with process of 3 sequences. The first one is we have to learn to allow what hasn't been allowed in the past. And what do I mean by allowing? By allowing, I first and foremost mean catching yourself when you are shaming yourself, when this nagging voice within you comes up of, no, I shouldn't do that. No, that's not good. Or maybe even you're in a social situation and you're looking down and you feel like, no, I'm just not worthy. I just feel, I just can't. I'm just not worthy. Catch yourself doing that. And then see if you can find a secluded space in which you have time for yourself. See how your body feels, and whatever primary emotion, maybe it was joy, maybe it was anger, maybe it was something that you wanted to say, maybe a part of you was emerging that then has been put away, where the black blanket of shame has been on top. What we want to do here is we want to remove the blanket, uncover the feeling, and simply allow it to be here. Can you allow whatever sensation you have in here? Can you be with that? Can you be with the feeling within you, maybe a feeling that nobody else has been with in the way that it needs to be met? So can you allow it? That's the first step. The second step is to attune to the feeling. What do I mean by that? If we have allowed the feeling, we've uncovered the feeling, we remove the blanket of shame, we want to look at it. We want to be with it. We want to become curious. And these are the 3 C's you can use here. They are curiosity, compassion, and courage. Curiosity, because we want to be, curious. We want to know, what did we uncover here? What is this feeling? Without any goal, without any place that we need to go to, can we just simply allow ourselves to be curious about what is going on here? Because if you imagine like a child being very angry or sad, curiosity from the caretaker, from the school, or from whatever place the shame has built would be really healing. Hey, why are you so angry? What's really going on? Where do you feel the anger? Is it here? Maybe your ideal parent would put a heart, would put a hand on your heart, wherever you feel the feeling. This part is really about simply exploring it, attuning to it like a singer attunes to the melody of a guitar, with curiosity and with compassion, really feeling like this connection that has been cut off through the shaming voices from the outside. How can you regain that? How can you rebuild that? And what's the optimal quality of that connection? It's compassion. Say, I feel you, really. And I'm willing to with curiosity and compassion, stay here and really connect with you. Nothing needs to happen. You're okay the way you are. You don't need to be fixed, but I'm here. I'm compassionate towards you. I want to feel you. And I'm here. And the 3rd C is courage. In order to attune to an emotion that has been stored away for a long time, especially when it comes to anger, when it comes to rage, when it comes to frustration, that might be frightening to some of the parts within you. And what you need in order to face your emotions is first acknowledge that it's pretty hard for most people to get into the body. And what do we need when we do things that are kind of hard? We need courage. We need courage in the face of fear, in the face of something that is really hard to allow within us. So these are the 3 C's with which we can attune to the feeling within us that has been shamed. The 3rd part of the sequence, if you have allowed and you've attuned to the feeling, is you express it in whatever form. You may feel a feeling here that your body wants to move with, and you just very gently may move your shoulders, or you may ask the part within you, the feeling within you, how does it want to move? Does it maybe feel fiery and you want to have more expressive movements? Is it maybe slow and sensual, or maybe there's grief moving within you? Maybe you want to paint something. Maybe you want to draw the feeling. And maybe there's something within you that needs to be verbally expressed to the right person. All these parts within us need is a safe other where they can flourish, is a relational space where they can flow into and feel safe. Because safety is the antidote to shame. If you imagine yourself experiencing abuse in a childhood room, or abuse in a school setting, wherever, if you're being shamed, what do you need in these moments? You need compassion. And you need to feel safe. You need to feel like you belong. You need to feel like this vessel here, this body here is good. That it's good that you're alive. That it's good that you're feeling. And that it's safe to be here. So if you do that with someone, could be a friend, that you feel safe with, and you just start sharing what you're ashamed about, you can start to heal. And this is also the purpose of therapy, I believe. It's saying the things we were never allowed to say, feeling the things we were never allowed to feel, crying the tears we were never allowed to be cried, and maybe screaming even a scream, shouting in a way we've wanted to shout for ages. And this is really the expressive part. Maybe there's anger within you bubbling up, and instead of throwing it away, instead of storing it away, put the blanket of shame on top of it. We want to allow it to express. You grab a pillow. I have a few videos on how to release anger here. You grab a pillow and you scream into it. You give yourself permission, because what shame does is it robs us of the permission to be our full selves. And you want to somatically regain that through giving the feeling, the experience, a vessel, a body through which it can flow. So we want to allow, we want to attune, and we want to express. And then we reverse the shame, especially if you work with the 3 C's, with curiosity, with compassion, and courage. You will soon learn that it's all about relationship. Because shame, again, cuts off the relational cord between us, between something that was deeply sacred to us. And these parts that we've been cut off from, because they were not safe in a certain environment, they've been stored away. And we want to learn to re-relate to them. We want to allow them to be here. We want to attune to them in the way they need the attunement. And then we want to express what they never dared to express. And this is how you heal shame. This is how you confront the voices within you, the belief that you are not good enough, and you reverse it through giving you the permission to be yourself. So if this video resonated within you, I would love to meet you in the comment section. Share your stories with me about where your specific shame originated and how this video resonated within you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.